Hey everyone, sound? There's sound now, isn't there? I'm really sorry about that. I'm testing out this very complicated setup right now. Let me know if you can hear me okay at this moment in time, and we should be good to go. So let me get the colors back to there. We go. See this? I think this is pretty cool. I get to change the thing behind me. Sound is back. Okay, you guys can hear me now, yeah? Okay. So, yeah, you guys should be able to hear me now. Sorry about the technical problems. There's always issues with trying to do multiple streams at once. I know you guys can see my hand and you can see the books. I have a second camera that I'm gonna try and get to work again if I know what I need to do. I need to turn it off. Oh, and turn it back on again. Yeah, it's the usual off and on. So, how you guys all doing? Great to see you all work. It's all fine. You can hear me. You can see me. The technical problems will probably come and go. But I wanted to give you guys a tour. Oh, hello. Let me zoom into this actually because I want to show it a little closer. I wanted to give you guys a tour of my language learning library. So to do that, I wanted to show you these books. So let's zoom into them. There we go. Nice and close. Okay. So I realized that if I wanted to go through my entire library today, it would not work because I have too many books to deal with in one single day. So I'm gonna split this up into multiple different videos, and obviously next time I won't have the technical problems to work around. So if I move over here, and then here we are. Okay, so essentially I have picked these books to talk about, and yes, there's Portuguese Ramon Pereira. Don't you worry, I'll be getting to Portuguese. I'll give that probably a special session. I have I counted them about like 70 books, so it's too much to go through today. I'm only going to be online for like a half hour. But today I wanted to pick two themes so that I covered a bunch of languages. So that's these mastering vocabulary and these slang books. So hopefully you guys will find this interesting. I look forward to your feedback, and I can make more videos like this in future, or I can change it up a little bit depending on what you guys think. So let's see how to start. So I picked these books because these are the first books that I used in learning some of my languages. So this one here, Mastering Spanish Vocabulary. Yeah, that's right. It's two cameras here. So this Mastering Spanish Vocabulary is one of the very first books I bought. It didn't look like this. If I lean the camera down ever so slightly, you see Mastering Italian Vocabulary there. That was the style that I got it in previously. So these books are very interesting because of how they thematically share vocabulary, and this is an interesting way to go about learning vocabulary. So yeah, I wanted to mention that, show you some of the inside pages and so on. Bridget says learning English. Yeah, I'll make videos about learning English, don't you worry about that. Today I want to talk about these languages in general. You will probably find similar books for mastering English vocabulary that are thematic. So if you're not a native English speaker, essentially that means they're in themes. Like you have, actually, just let me show you. So if I pick this one here, Mastering French Vocabulary, then I could show you the inside pages while I'm talking to you. Oh. that's what I wanted to do. A little bit out of zoom, out of focus. Yeah, okay, that's fine. Focus is fine. Tiffany says she's read less than stellar reviews on the street slang books, and that's fine. I will get to the street slang ones in a moment. I wanted to start with the vocabulary books that are separated into themes. So, for instance, this one is this goes into like place names and such, and here you can see we have the French version of things like the names of the oceans and what kind of bodies of water, like a river and so on. Sorry if you can't see that translation there. I don't know if I move this back. It's just about make out here. North Sea and so on. So, oh Siri. Oh, I said like seriously and my iPad activated. That was very strange. Okay, so this is the kind of thing that I would start with when I'm learning a language, because I find that when I learn vocabulary and I do it in themes, then it's easier to remember, and I feel like it's more interesting that way as well. So you're like trying to remember everything related to house vocabulary, and it might tell you about the names of the rooms. It might tell you things like door and table and all the things you would find in a house. And that's like, you might, if you've taken courses, you might have seen maybe some books would group a few words together, like 5 or 6 or whatever. These books, they're pretty good. The Barons. So if you want to know where to get it, a few people have been asking. Just go to Amazon. Amazon, do a search for, you can see it here, BARRON apostrophe S, Barron's Mastering Your Language Vocabulary. They do it for European languages, not so much for a lot of non-European languages. So I'm not sure how helpful it'll be if you're not learning some of those bigger languages. But don't worry, I'm going to be making more of these videos. I'm going to be sharing my entire language learning library and many, many, many books that I've been using over the years. So let me show you an example in the Italian one, just to mix it up a bit. Okay, so let's see. I'm seeing your questions, everyone, so feel free to keep typing. Jordan says, do you have a list for those words, Benny, like a master list? Well, that's what these books are. So these books aren't actually language courses, like a traditional language course that you'd be used to. You could see that these books, they just take a theme, like this is leisure time, recreation, sports and games, and they give you all of the vocabulary in that theme. So here we've got like hobbies to start off with, and maybe if you like to dance, you see the verb dance and a ball and a disco and so on. So that's kind of the reason I like these thematic books, is because I feel it's easier to decide, okay, I'm going to learn all the vocabulary related to sports. I'm going to spend the next hour learning those words. And you would go through the vocabulary nice and quick that way, and it feels relevant. I find when I learn random words, which, you know, there's an advantage of like spaced repetition, for instance. They give you the words not in a particular order, but unless you specify it, but in the order that is better for you to learn that particular word. Whereas these, I might input these into my spaced repetition Anki deck or something, but I would learn from these books if I was starting these particular languages. Okay, let's see. We've got people asking about if they can text me personally for language advice. I'm a little busy for that, but you are welcome to check out the website, ask questions, and we have people who answer emails with language encouragement. So you can definitely get in touch via the website, and somebody on the team will get back to you. Let's see. People are answering questions over on YouTube about what this is all about, and this is a language learning website. And thanks for that, guys, because there's only so much I can do while I'm talking and trying to catch up on the comments. Okay, Routledge is a high quality reference. Yeah, we get into that soon enough. And yeah, okay, so think I'm catching up in the comments. So I wanted to mention the thematic books first, and then very quickly, this is a kind of more controversial because I think consistently these are well researched. They have good words depending on the year that you'll get it. Some of them have been published in the 90s for the older versions, and when you do that, when you have books that are that old, you're not as likely going to get internet vocabulary and such. Joey asked me what books I used for Japanese. I will be getting to that, Joey. I actually have my Kindle library. So when I showed, you guys might have seen the picture that I shared on social media and over as the like preview picture on YouTube that I had. Those are all my books. But that's only a fraction of them because I actually have a ton of books that I read on the Kindle. And so I want to do these things every once in a while and go through some of the books that I liked and try to answer your questions as best as I can. And you can get some of these, to answer your question, Lorna, you can get some of these as an ebook. It depends on the book itself. You can search the Amazon store and see if they've converted it to the Kindle. Let's see. You guys should try Arabic Pod 101. Okay, there's people like asking advice for particular things they do in languages. I'm going to try and share some specific language books next time. I wanted to do this first test to see what you guys thought. So very quickly, let's look at the street French and street Spanish and so on. So when I was learning French, I wanted to be more social because I tended to use the language in formal situations only at my workplace, and it made it harder to make friends. So these books, you'll see mixed reviews for them online because they don't teach you the standard form of the language that you're going to need to pass an exam. So if that's your goal, don't get these books. But they do teach you slang. So these are street French. Essentially, you look for the word street followed by the language name. So here you can see street German, street Spanish, street Italian. I have the most experience with street French. Because I think that's when the author started the series, he started with French, and I could show you the inside of it. It's very funny. This book, what it does is it takes the format that we're used to, where you have like a story or something and a dialogue that helps you learn it, but the way it demonstrates the stuff it teaches you, look at this. So you have this weird image here, so it's very cartoony, and it has an expression. So here, in French, it says, Nancy est une vraie fée du logis. Nancy's a true fairy of the domicile. Sorry, the lighting makes that harder to read if I turn off the light there. There we go. Yeah, you should see that better now. So this is the French there. You have a literal translation and a word for word, or like a meaning translation and a similar expression that you'd have in English. And the dialogues in this book, they create basic dialogues that people have between one another, and they tend to overuse slang. So it's unnatural in that way. You're not going to have a conversation like that because there's far too much slang. It's not realistic that someone would go over the top that much when you're. Get the color back on my thing here. It's because I keep moving around. It keeps losing my position here. So if you want something based off like natural dialogues, here we go. If you want something based off natural dialogues, then you wouldn't get these street slang books, but you would use them to see interesting expressions used in particular contexts. So yeah, that's what I want to talk about just very quickly. And so yeah, you guys can search for those. That's by Burke, B-U-R-K-E. So these aren't my favorite language learning books by any means. I just wanted to give you guys a tour of my language learning library and start with a couple of books. So I know that these are you guys are mentioning like the apps that you like and so on. I know that these are for those particular big languages, but for a couple of other languages, there's other things you can do. People are asking me about pronunciation and listening comprehension. I'm gonna do live sessions about those kind of things. I wanted to talk about my language library specifically today. I'll do a live Q&A for general language learning questions probably over the next few days. So because I can see you guys have a lot of varied questions, which makes it harder to stick to a particular theme like this. So I'll do a general Q&A in probably not my next video, because my next video is going to be with Matt. We're talking about travel questions, but maybe at the end of the week, next weekend, you guys come back and I'll have a general Q&A to answer all your questions. So just one or two final books, and then I will try to answer a couple of quick questions related to these books before I sign off. So here's another one I like. This is the American Sign Language Pocket Dictionary. So you guys who follow the blog would know that I had a project a few years ago to learn American Sign Language. So, or that's American Sign Language. So when I got into it, I actually really enjoyed it. And I found it to be a natural way of expressing concepts, sometimes better than spoken languages. So I had so much fun that I wanted to continue learning, and that's what I did with this pocket dictionary. You can see a few videos on my YouTube channel of me trying to use ASL, but if you're into it yourself, if you're into any sign language, not necessarily American Sign Language, and thanks to Alessandra. Alessandra just mentioned she loved the video where I went to Gallaudet University and I got to use my sign language. So what I like about these books are that you can on the go look things up. So let me show you the inside very quickly if I can not lose my... There we go. So as you can see, it works as you might expect. You look up the words, they go alphabetically. I know it's very hard to read on this particular screen. I'll fix that for next time. And you see a visualization of how that sign would work, the action you need to take with your hands. So for instance, let me see if I can do one of these for you. Convince, the word convince here. You can see it shows this guy here doing this action with his hands. Okay, you can actually see that a bit better with the focus now. So this guy is doing this action, and I would look it up, see it, and then know that I just need to do this. And that's how I would learn that vocabulary when I'm out and about. So yeah, this is one random language here, and then one other final language learning book I will share, and I'll go through your questions then for 5 or 10 minutes, is this one. I'm sure a lot of you guys would have read the Harry Potter books. This is Harry Potter in Irish, or Gaeilge. And hi Alex. Alex N says hello. Gerald says, how quickly do you go through these books? It would depend on the book. So in another one of these live hangouts, I'll show you some of the books that I'm reading in Spanish and French, which would be my best foreign languages, especially for reading. And I could go through those at, let's say, half the speed that I would an English language book. Move this, my colors are weird. I go through them about half the speed as I would an English language book, but I still enjoy it. Now, Irish isn't one of my better languages. I'm kind of like lower intermediate in Irish, so I would go through this very slowly. I need a dictionary, but it is a good opportunity for me to learn. And that's why I have I have several novels and stories and classical books that I look forward to getting through. So, you know, like with anyone, I just need to make the time to make it happen. Okay, so I'm going to go through some of your questions now, guys, and I hope you found this a little bit interesting. I'll do a general Q&A for the entire session not next time, but next weekend. But just to go through some of your questions real quick, I'm looking at YouTube and Facebook right now. So over on Facebook, Vera says hi from Brazil. So, or I should say, Vera Lucia Figueiredo Nogueira. So I love how long people's names are in Latin America. Matthias says that he learned all hiragana and katakana. Matthias is over on YouTube. Learned all the hiragana and katakana in 2 days. Yep, I can see that happening. It's a writing system like any other, and you focus on it, and you'll be able to do that. And how do you learn your languages like Japanese? Some of these questions are a little too open-ended for me to be able to answer in a quick session like this. So I'm going to try and figure out how I can process you guys' questions as quickly as I can to give depth, because some of them I can't answer in like 1 minute, or I have to devote the entire video to that. So we have a commenter with a Russian name. I'm sorry, I can't read Cyrillic, haven't gotten to Russian yet. And he says he's read all Harry Potter books in Spanish and Greek. Good for you. That's great, all of them. So that's 7 books. I'm like going to consider it an achievement when I finish one of them. So good for you for doing that. And Vera says your Portuguese is great. Thank you for that. What do you think about the Practice Makes Perfect series? I forget if I've experienced with that. I'll look in, because some of these series I know them by a different name. So I'll see if I have a Practice Makes Perfect here in my collection. Ryland says, do you recommend the Asamil series? I do indeed. I definitely recommend Asamil, and I have several Asamil books right here, and I'll show those to you next time. I considered showing you guys all my books. I'm glad I didn't do that. I'm glad I took a selection, because I can see we've many varied questions here. Eamon says, how do you use books to go from upper intermediate level to advanced? Very good question. Let's see how I can answer that in a short time. To go from upper intermediate to advanced, what I tend to do is not just read, because I feel that's a little passive. I would read to absorb as much vocabulary as I can, but I would combine it with something from the C2 exams that actually test you on your reading ability. Because I might read a book, I might read a chapter or something, and I'll think in my head, oh, I understood that, I know the words, I got the gist, I'm happy. And that's fine as a beginner and intermediate learner, but to get to the advanced level, that kind of self-evaluation doesn't work as effectively. So I would get assignments from a teacher to read something and then answer questions, because something that's at the advanced level, when you look at exams and so on, they tend to have very complex questions that really push you and show you how you might not have understood as much as you thought you understood. So I would combine reading with a teacher who can give you assignments and ask you very tricky questions. Hope that answers your question. Okay, let's see. People are answering one of those questions. That's great. Hello from Canada. I was wondering if you're going to release new language hacking books, and if so, if you're doing Asian languages. Good question. Yes, there will be new language hacking books. We have to have a discussion with the publisher. I wanted to start my year off a little bit easy, catch up on things, because I was very busy last year. But in the next few weeks, we'll have a discussion, and we'll see what the next books will be. They could indeed include Chinese. That's one that we are seriously considering. And if we do other ones like Japanese, I don't speak Japanese very well at all. So I would have to find someone to work with on that one. And that's kind of a process when we get into those other languages. So yeah, keep following along. You'll see if we get into the next languages. And I'll share that with everyone as soon as I know. Okay. Vera says, started to learn Italian. Do you have any tips for me? Well, like I always tell everyone, Vera, you got to use it. You got to speak from day one. Find Italians, speak to them. That's the best way to learn any language. And if you want tips for Italian specifically, I have to say, as a beginner, the specific resources you use are not as important as the fact that you use something. So later on for Italian, there are specific books, and I'll show you some of the books I've used. But regardless of what language you're learning, Italian, Arabic, German, Mandarin, speak it. Find a native speaker, learn with them. That's the best way to do it. Okay. Let's see. More frequent videos. Carolina Gomez requests. Yeah, thank you for that request. Definitely going to make a lot more. Like I said, on Monday I'll have a video about travel. So you guys are welcome if you have any travel questions to come and ask me and my friend Matt about that. Alsamil are good, but the books are in French. Yeah, that is a... I kind of forget that a lot of the time because I speak French, and so I use the books that are in French to learn other languages. It's a system called laddering. So, yeah, that's... Let me actually make my image a little bit bigger here. There we go. Because you don't need to see the books as much as you're seeing me. So I'm going to wrap this up, everybody, in the next, 3 to 5 minutes, just to give you a heads up. Next time I will try to get to as many varied questions as I can, because I can see you guys want to ask me a lot of things there, so that's fine. Okay, let's see. Learning management is okay. From 0 to 10, how much do you recommend Italian? So when people ask me what language should I learn, or should I learn this language, I always kind of joke with them that I should create an army of Navi speakers. Navi is the language from the movie Avatar, just for fun. But you shouldn't ask somebody else if you should learn a language. Like, if I said you should learn Italian, that doesn't mean anything, because I don't know you. You need to see how passionate you are about the language. And if you really want to learn it, it doesn't matter, like, from a work perspective as much, unless that is what motivates you, that's what makes you passionate. You don't want that to be your main motivation. You want to have fun in the language. Okay, it's better to think... sorry, Irish accent's coming out in the THs there. Is it better to think in the target language or always translate? Think in the target language. If you're always translating, you're slowing yourself down. Try to use words visually. If you're don't know a word, sometimes I would use Google image search rather than looking it up in a dictionary, and then I would look up the word voiture in French, and I would see a thing with 4 wheels that you drive, but I would not use the CAR word because I don't want to associate it with that word that is an English word for me. I want to associate it with the concept of the thing that you visualize. So yeah, that's hopefully that answers that question. Okay, let's see. Oh, Italki, not Italian. Okay. Yeah. Did I misread you? No, I didn't. Okay, you mistyped Italian as Italki. I highly recommend Italki. That's why you see me talk about it all the time. I use it to find most of my language practice people. Okay. All right. So some of these questions are getting very complex. What's going on behind me? This is a technical thing that I'll fix next time. This where I tell it which colors to remove, and it removes part of my head, which is funny. Yeah, whatever. I'm only going to be on for another minute, so don't worry about that. Hello from the Ukraine, Oksana. Hello back to you. Do you ever find you learn a language not... see, I've got this weird blue screen behind me. There we go. A little bit better. You want to be... Okay, Toanui says that, or if he's a native French speaker, Toanui says that he would love to have the language hacking series released in other languages, like Asimil is in French, like I was saying, and that would help him to learn more that way. And that is something we're looking into. We're looking into actually translating it. So, yeah. As for choosing a language, I agree with you. My talk is great. Do you have a process for choosing which novels you'll read? usually I would like to get recommendations, Maria, for which novel, something that is iconic for that culture that helps me get to know. Like in Spanish, I picked Cien años de soledad, 100 Years of Solitude. In French, the first full book I properly read was Le Tour du Monde en 80 jours, Around the World in 80 Days, because it's Jules Verne. So I kind of wanted that, and I travel a lot, so it was something that's interesting for me. Okay, so I'm gonna leave it here, everybody, because this is getting into like very different questions. I wanted to show you my books. Let me know if you thought that was interesting. Maybe next time next time I'm not talking about travel, I will do a general Q&A, and I'll be very happy to take questions about whatever you want. So let's say we'll do that next weekend. If you guys are not on my email list yet, then get on that email list, and you will see you'll see when I'm going to do it. I'm going to tell you the times, and hopefully you guys enjoyed following along on this. I'm seeing more questions coming in, but I can't get to these questions right now. I'm sorry if you asked a question and I didn't answer it today. Feel free to come back next weekend, and then on Monday, come back and you can ask any travel related questions. Okay? So, thanks everybody. I appreciate you all coming and checking this out. I hope you enjoyed it. Sorry about the technical difficulties for the first couple of minutes. I'm still setting up my system for live streaming. I'm going to do it a lot more often, and going to make sure that I answer your questions as best as I can. And yeah, so that's about it. Thanks for watching, everybody, and